This is Together, an Ada Bible Church podcast about the world of marriage, where we attempt to invite you to explore the ways marriage works and doesn't work. From practical ways of learning to biblical inspiration, we invite you to listen to other professionals and couples to help enrich your marriage.
Well, listeners, welcome back to Together. This is Samuel, Kelly, and Rachel with another tremendous season, season 6.
Can't believe it.
Oh my gosh. We have been traveling this road for some years now. We could officially be called family.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned that, Samuel.
Family.
Yeah.
Family. Yeah. And so this episode is going to be so much just about some things that are coming, some things that are happening right now, and you will not want to miss this episode. So make sure you tell your friends, tell other listeners, like, hey, Together's back on the air again. Maybe they didn't even stop listening to us, but that we're back and it's season 6. So yeah. Hey, what's going on?
Oh, it's going well. So today we are going to do a little bit of a review. We have a little bit of a intro to an event that's coming at Ada in a couple months. And then we have a surprise.
We do.
A big surprise. Huge surprise.
Huge surprise.
Yeah. Let's start. The thing I think that we should do is just spend a little bit of time, because I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you thought of season 5, and give our listeners a podcast episode that stood out to you.
Yeah, I would love to start. And as we're recording, it's summer. And I don't know about you guys, but I've been bumping into people saying, hey, I'm catching up on podcasts, right? They've got a little more room in the summer for some people,
sure, where
they just listen to a bunch in a row and they're like, felt like we hung out all day Saturday, or,
that's
funny. So listening to those. So I did some of that recently, catching up on podcasts I listened to some of our more recent ones. And the one that impacted me a lot was the one where we had Andy and Esther Donaldson on. A younger couple, hadn't been married very long, and Andy's somebody I get to serve with on staff. He's part of the group life team, so he invests in men, I invest in women as a part of this church family. So I hadn't gotten to know him enough. So I learned more about him by listening to that and learned more about their relationship. I knew Esther before I knew Andy. So hearing a little bit of their love story, and then really I think a major takeaway for me was how Esther handled her singleness.
Sure. Yeah.
And how God worked in that. Maybe because I have an adult daughter who is single in her later 20s, and a lot of her friends are married. And really it's a journey of trust. Like, what does God have in mind? And just really wanting to be aligned with his plans for her life, whatever those might be. And I thought God brought Esther to that spot. I really want to be married, Lord, but if it's not what you have in mind for me, more than that, I want your plan.
Yeah.
Right. I believe you're good. Yeah. So that was really impactful. And then when they opened up about their loss and how the church family was really functioned as family at that time, and the difference that it made for them. And there were a whole bunch of fun things. I love that they're kind of goofy together and, all that stuff
very
too.
Goofy, aren't they?
Yeah. And
goofy.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm really excited that's a part of that season.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you guys?
Well, yeah, I think I loved Andy and Esther's episode. I got to record it with you, Rachel. And when I look back on season 5 for me was a little bit, some of our people we had on, they were just joyful.
Very much so.
And Esther and Andy were very joyful. Yeah. And then another couple who I thought were very joyful and very wise, very young couple, was Mordecai and Amanda, who you guys got to interview.
We did.
And I didn't know anything about their story, and that was really fun to hear about the cultural differences and the meeting and the challenges of that. But the big thing that blew me away, which I think people who are listening, especially if you're single or dating, one of the things that they've done more than maybe most any other couple I've ever met,
I already know what you're going to say.
They prepared for marriage.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
And not only did they prepare for marriage, they kept on pushing in after they were married. And they did so much. They basically did anything and everything you could do at Ada Bible.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so cool and such a great model for how you need to do marriage if you're thinking about being married.
Yeah. Awesome. And so when I think about those two examples, Number one, amazing examples and great podcasts. I'll have to say my favorite was the most recent podcast that we listened to, or those that left off. It was Matt DeHogue, who was a fellow therapist, great friends with you, Kelly, and also known him from Young Life staff and other experiences. And so Matt talked about actually a podcast that we had done several seasons ago about the DISC personality profile, the D, the I, and the S and the C,
I love all that stuff.
all that good mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
But it's not just mumbo jumbo; it's so specific to people's experiences, especially when you all start talking about the experiences of two people in marriage, and talking about how most often the opposites attract. But he talked about in the end and this is personal with me. A couple that were both the same in their personality profile. And here's a little bit of the intersect. This is one of my favorite podcasts was he talked about how they were needing to work towards stepping into the other parts of their personalities and how they could do that. One thing he mentioned was just, small groups. Here's the intersection of that. That couple did end up getting in a small group, and their small group leaders were Sam and Tova Jones.
Oh, hey, wow. That's great.
And so that was a very fun experience, and we talked about that with them and just their experience with premarital counseling, and then being able to being in a small group with them and leading them and helping their marriage, continually, or they're getting ready to be married, getting ready to grow, and just the aspect of how their personalities interact and kind of take that space of premarital to more of a group effect and how that impacts them. So one of my favorite episodes, just to kind of hear that intersect and how to continually, how Ada Bible, brings all those things kind of together. Speaking of together.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. And you say your favorite. It's always so hard to pick a favorite, isn't it? I mean, I just think here's a standout one, but each one. I mean, we had some incredible couples on. Like, don't miss it. If you missed one of those episodes, go back. Right. The T-Bosses were on. Yeah.
The Schroeders.
Really. And we even talked about us together, our favorite books and some of the favorite quotes and things. And
Yeah, I would definitely say season 5 was one of our best, if not best seasons. And again, when you're doing this, you keep on learning how to do it and who to bring on and who are those couples that really have these stories that can brighten your day and where you can learn something. So with that, a little segue here for our listeners. One of the things that we're going to really be promoting in season 6 is on October 6th. We are having Ted Lowe. He's an author, has written a couple of different marriage books. I got to interview him. That episode is going to release sometime in season 6 before he comes and does the marriage event. But that's definitely a marriage event you're going to want to attend. One of the things I really liked about it when I was interviewing Ted is he said, number one, this is not an event where you're going to walk away feeling bashed.
Right.
It's going to be... He brings
a bit of levity with him.
There's a lot of humor. And then his big goal is I want you to be able to take one or two things away where you can maybe implement this in your marriage and try to make change. So I'm really excited for that event. And we will definitely be promoting that moving forward.
Yeah.
It's a little while since we've hosted a marriage event. And I know the last time we did it, it's had an overwhelming response. So we believe we're going to pack the house out. And that's going to be something, just a fresh investment in marriage is a different investment.
Yeah.
So excited for that.
Yeah, me too. All right. Well, with that, I think we talked about this surprise, right, at the beginning of our podcast. What do we got going on, Rachel?
Yeah, so we had a little surprise coming for season 6, and that surprise happens to be in this room.
What?
I know. So we get to add a couple new voices to this host team, and we are so excited about who God brought to this team. Corey Olson is on staff here at Ada Bible, and she serves with our Lifeline ministry, our student ministry, and then Andy Donaldson. So he was a guest. I know he was a guest on season 5, and we thought, you know what, we'd love to have you around a little bit more. and have you be a part of the host team. So what we thought we would do for this episode is let you get to know them a little bit and invite them to the table and to get started right now with them on the team.
Awesome. So let's officially welcome Corey and Andy.
Whoa. Yeah, whoa.
Oh, yeah. How you feel?
Good.
Yeah, boom mics. Tell you what.
Hi. Yes.
Hey, all right. Glad to be here.
So Andy and Corey, I don't know, like it's so many things that we could say and we could start with.
The adventure begins.
Right.
For us too.
We're so glad you're here, and we have now two added voices with various experiences and ideas and marriages, to add together. So Rachel, this is exciting.
It is exciting. And as I mentioned, Andy has been on an episode before.
Yeah.
And I just shared about his episode and what that meant to me. But I'd love to help us get to know Corey a little bit more. And I thought I would start by sharing a few things that I know about Corey.
Oh, yeah.
So Corey and I served pretty closely together at the same campus for a while. And in fact, I remember you before you were married and we were talking about centerpieces for the wedding.
Yes, you did.
And kind of watch a little bit of that time preparing for marriage and then you guys being newlyweds. And tell us a little bit about you, but do that after I tell them a little bit about you. So I watched Corey invest in so many families and student ministries, and that impacts families. So a big part of marriage is for those who have children, raising teenagers, especially in this day, you need a lot of support. And Corey has been that person that parents could go to navigate some tough things or navigate some of the great things as their kids were, digging in more and growing a lot spiritually. So thank you for how you've invested in so many families and so many couples, helping those marriages get stronger. And I know you're bringing that with you.
Yeah.
So, but tell us a little bit about yourself, who you're married to, how long you've been married, stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, it's so fun to be here. And I have done my homework a little bit. I'm not caught up on all the episodes yet, but I'm trying. And Rachel, just been so fun to work with you too. I think when I had a question about like maybe a mom or someone in Lifeline, I see if they're connected first with you. And that's just been fun to tag team and care for people together. So thanks for being a friend in that. Yeah.
Yes.
So yes, I am married 5 years actually next month. So very fun. His name's Colin. We met in college. So we went to Cornerstone here. Neither of us are from Grand Rapids, but we are transplants and have made it our home.
You stayed.
Yes, we stayed. We fell in love with it. It's just so easy to get involved in Grand Rapids and we love it. And we found our people here too in a good community. So that's been really awesome. So yeah, I work with students here at Ada. So I did work at one campus in particular, but now I've moved into an operations role. So events and helping lead leaders and parents. Parents is one of my umbrellas now too. So this will be really fun. I'm super excited to learn. I mean, 5 years. Yes, that's 5 years, but it's also only 5 years too.
But 5 years is a lot of experience.
It is. But so I'm excited to learn. I love listening to people's stories and their journeys. And even on this podcast too, like so many different journeys. And you guys have really done a good job of like getting into all kinds of marriages too. So I'm excited to hear from some more couples and just to encourage them too. And I'm excited to ask questions and learn a little bit more. And throughout walking alongside families, I think even like in my bubble, I have walked through some younger marriages that maybe have been really hard. And so just bringing some of that experience and things I've seen and conversations I've had, just to sprinkle those in. I'm excited to kind of share that too. Yeah.
Well, and Samuel, what were we saying about that? Like bringing that voice into this conversation.
Exactly. I think that's the idea, is that because we have so much of I'll call it myriad, a pantheon of voices and experiences, we have the opportunity to bring your expertise, right? And also your idea about marriage into that space. And even, if I asked you the question, like, what's maybe one idea or one thing that's really important to you, or maybe even one experience that's been important to you that's impacted your marriage? I mean, like, what would you say?
Are you asking me right now?
Oh, yeah, on the spot. This is just welcome together.
Welcome to the hot seat.
I think so. Like, I don't know about you guys, but there was an earlier podcast and you're talking about being firstborn.
Yeah.
And that hit so deep for me of like knowing all the things, being so controlling, not so controlling. I'm not Colin Kelly control.
Colin.
But just like thinking you're right all the time. And I think in marriage, that is like, marriage is one surefire way to be like, oh, you're not right all the time, you know? And so I think just something I've learned to celebrate Colin and like his, like what he brings to the table, and things that I thought were annoying at one point are now like so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I can like celebrate that. So that's one thing, is like looking for those things to acknowledge and celebrate in this thing. Like, you liked your person at one point. So even if they're annoying at some point, you know, like there's still beautiful things that you, can recognize and see in them too. And so I think, just learning that I don't know it all, and just having mutual respect for the other person is huge. Something I've learned, you know,
it's beautiful.
baseline.
Yeah. And you've learned, you've got a couple of things you're especially passionate about when it comes to marriage, like maybe some things you've learned that you really just desire for all marriages. What's something that comes to mind?
Sure. These are big hitter questions coming out of the gate. I think something too that I'm passionate about, in just helping maybe my friends walk in their marriage, or newly, or thinking about getting married, is having a community. Maybe that's one person or a small group or something outside of your marriage. And make no mistake, I don't mean like a gossip circle to talk about your spouse. I think that's like a very clear line to draw, but someone who maybe is in the same boat or like a little bit ahead of you, that you can be like, hey, this is a frustration, or hey, how did you guys do this? Even listening to this, like, it's like, oh, that's something I can do, like integrate some, even this, if it's this podcast for you, that's awesome. But somewhere you can get some other ideas and outside perspective, just to walk alongside that, pray with you through it, like, or I've prayed for other people's spouses, like I've prayed for their marriages. And so I think that's like hugely powerful. And so get a community around you. And then, I don't know, I think someone told me this at some point, but like, if you're talking to someone else about your marriage more than you're talking to your spouse or partner, that might be a little lopsided too. So just don't, I mean, there's obviously cases where you need to bring in a third party or counseling, highly recommend. But bring it to that person first, you know? So those are two things, of just talking with your partner, and then also having another space to maybe investigate.
Sure. And we say partner too, because sometimes it's before you get married, right?
Yeah.
You're kind of paired up, and but starting before you get married, some of those things, that's really awesome. Yeah. So Samuel, let's get to know this other person at this table. Thanks, Corey. We'll take you off the hot seat. Welcome to it, Andy.
Andy Donaldson, man, let me first say a couple things about Andy. Andy, you all may have heard his story, but I want to just give a brief synopsis. You know, Andy is an incredible therapist we've had some interactions with in the past, right? Group Life staff, me formerly, you currently dealing with men's ministry, but you also have had this huge passion for marriages over the course of your clinical career. And so this man married to Esther, not Hadessa in the Bible, but Esther currently, right?
Yes.
In this space, a man who's just passionate, a man after God's own heart, and just incredibly cares and loves for people, you know, in so many capacities. And just, Andy, I've loved listening to you, and I just want to give you this big, you know, boost up, man. But just remind the listeners a little bit about just maybe your story, who you are again, and I got some questions for you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Samuel. That means a lot coming from you. And so Married to Esther, did a podcast episode not too long ago, and as Rachel told you earlier, it was phenomenal.
It was.
So you want to go and you want to listen to that.
I'm so glad you agree.
Yeah, you get to hear from my wife, which is really the gold there. So we've been married for about a year and a half, I've been a counselor for about 5-6 years, and then recently joined the men's staff at Ada. So get to work a lot with men. Still end up working a lot with marriages, just more so from the men's side.
Yeah, man. And so with that too, let's maybe remind the listeners a little bit about what you love, because there's something that you do, you know, pretty much every single week. I've heard, you know, it has to do something with moving your physical body that you love doing.
Oh yeah. So when I'm not working, I am usually moving in some way, either running, biking, or swimming. Yeah. Because I'm a triathlete. I love to train and compete in triathlons. So I've been doing that for 3 or 4 years now, and starting to get the hang of it. And there's a lot to it. So,
You're kind of lowering yourself here. I've heard you've done pretty good. You've placed probably.
I placed once, and that was just a few months ago. Went on a little trip, did a small triathlon, and ended up getting third in my age group. So,
whoa.
Listen, that's pretty incredible.
I love what Esther shared too. Like she's found her place and all that, and it's on the street cheering for you as you go by.
And there's a lot to that in triathlon where she's my crew.
Pit
she's
crew.
my pit crew. Yeah. She's phenomenal at it too.
Yeah. So with that, man, you're on together officially as a co-host. I know you have, again, a wealth of experience in dealing with marriages. Maybe one or two ideas or experiences that you've had around the idea of marriage and maybe a story or two you want to share and tell.
Sure. Yeah, maybe I'll start with kind of what pulled me into marriage, and it was I might have shared this on the podcast, so this might be a repeat, but I'll keep it brief. When I was in college, I had a crush on a girl who wasn't Esther, but we were chatting, and she made a comment about a book that she said, if I ever marry a guy, he's going to have to have read this book. So I picked up the book. It was Sacred Marriage by an author named Gary Thomas, and read the book cover to cover.
Yeah.
Loved it. Great book. Highly recommend. But that kind of got me on this kick of reading a bunch of marriage books with the hope of being a really good spouse when the time comes. And over time, God just sort of worked through that, and in my heart sort of developed this, high respect, high passion for the institution of marriage. And so then when I graduated with a degree in advertising, I realized this is not the path I want to head down. So I ended up kind of doing some soul searching and finding myself at a seminary, getting a degree in counseling with the hope to just work on improving marriages. High passion for it. And that's kind of just stayed. There have been times where I've really even tried to get out of the marriage realm. It can be really, really hard. Anybody who works with marriages, really even the people I talk to about working with marriages, they go, man, how do you do it? Or, and I'll leave that to you. I don't want to do it.
Right.
It can get really tough. So there have been times I've tried to step away, and God has just continually pulled me back into it.
Yeah.
Even joining the men's ministry, he's going, no, we're going to put you on a podcast about marriage too.
There you go.
Yeah. I just have a high passion for marriage, and I've worked with dozens of couples over the years, and I don't know if I have a specific story, but I can tell you some of the things I've learned over the time that I think has been so impactful to my marriage, and just kind of where I've gone with some of my counseling, and even just in conversations with friends that has to do with marriage. We'll talk about communication, and one of the big things that people say around marriage is, people just need to communicate, and I've always said, saying that is like telling somebody having a panic attack to calm down. It's just it's so much more complicated than that.
Yeah.
And so, I've just throughout my career, I guess I've developed this high passion, to keep using that term, but high passion for improving communication and diving into the complexities of communication.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Helping people connect in a meaningful way better. And that's what we hope to do.
Exactly.
And God's going to put couples in your path that'll end up in conversations that we're going to get to have here. I mean, I'm thinking all the ground we're going to get to cover together.
I'm telling you. And again, we have so many experiences, and lengths of marriage and lessons that we'll learn together as co-hosts, and so I'm just highly excited and passionate, just like you, about what's going to be coming this season, in season 6. So, Rachel, anything on your heart that you feel like is just blurbing or ready to share?
I wanted to sneak in one thing, Samuel. I'm so glad you asked. I know when Andy and Esther were on, they kind of shared about some tough things that they've been through. And one was the loss. They experienced a miscarriage. But I believe you have an update for us.
We do have an update for us. In fact, today, as we're recording, we are on 36 weeks of our pregnancy. We have a baby girl coming.
Wow. Congrats.
Yeah.
Very
hopefully
cool.
4 weeks
That's
or so.
awesome.
Yeah.
Praise
awesome.
God. That is incredible.
Awesome,
I didn't want us to miss that.
Yeah, exactly. So, we're getting ready to finish our first episode of season 6. And I just want to give you all opportunity as co-host to end us well. And so I'm just going to ask you, you know, what do you hope or what do you pray to be the thing that happens for season 6 for you in this space, you know? And then Corey, I want to give you the chance first. What do you hope? And just pray that when season 6 is done, I pray that God does this.
What a good question. Yeah, I think prayerfully considering this opportunity too, and just I hope to look back and just look over and look over the episodes and say like, wow, like we have had such amazing examples of what it looks like to look to God first in marriages and just give people some really good tangible. I'm a big like tangible tool. Like what can you do today based on this podcast? And I think we've done a good job at that so far, but just to continue that and it'd be fun too, as you say that, Rachel, to circle back to some couples of like, hey, how's it going?
We've talked about that.
So fun.
Exactly. Where are you now?
Yeah. And so, and just continuing to get some different, perspectives and different, different, maybe obstacles or different things people have walked through too. But yeah, I think just pointing people, to godly marriages and tangible tools, I think come to mind.
Awesome. Andy, how about you?
Yeah, I love what Corey just said about, you know, bringing those tangible things that people can take away and apply in their lives. I think a big thing that I would hope for in a lot of the podcasts that we put out would be to really encourage couples who are in some dark spaces, some hard spaces. Give them some practical tools and some tips, but also some stories of redemption, some stories of people that maybe have been in very similar spots that have come out of it and kind of just spur people on to continue the hard work that is marriage.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think we'll bring that forward into every single season. We're so grateful to have you on this journey with us. We also hope that marriages that are doing great keep making fresh investments in their marriage and that they have those takeaways to keep growing together.
Awesome. So listeners, I hope you've been empowered and encouraged and you get a chance to meet our new co-hosts, Corey and Andy. And for myself, Kelly and Rachel, we are excited to have you here with us and listening to us again. This is Together.
Thanks for listening to Together. We hope you've learned a thing or two. If you find the podcast helpful, please go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your listening platform, leave a comment and give us a 5-star rating. If you'd like more information on Ada Bible Church and its ministries, or someone to pray or dialogue with about your marriage, go online and check out our website at adabible.org.